everyone, I'm Cassandra.
And I'm Mom.
And this is Millennial Mom. And today we are here to bring you all another 90 Day Fiancé the other way. Season 2, Episode 8, Rude Awakening. And I wonder who that's going to be for. So, let's get into the video.
First, we're going to start off with Tim and Melissa. Today's the day that Tim is going to Colombia. He's excited to go. He's packing up his comfort cat, ready to go to Colombia. What? I'm just saying it's his comfort cat, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I don't know.
I just never heard of it before.
Well, I don't know the cat's name, so it's the comfort cat. When he gets there, he plans on staying forever to spend a lifetime. He says if this doesn't work out, then he's left everything on the table. I'm like, that's a Vegas reference. You left everything on the table. Now, before Tim gets to Colombia, we see Melissa. She gives us her background, how she came to America. She started off being an au pair so she could learn English, things like that. And what I did learn is an au pair is a nanny who can come on a limited visa. So I actually learned that from the 90 Day Fiancé, the first episode that come on Sunday.
With Coty. And Jessica.
She explained the backstory, which we got from Tim. The bottom line is Tim cheated on her. She found out when she came back to live with him for 6 months to see if they can be compatible together. Mm-hmm. And she just felt something was off. What would you think about that?
Well, her spidey senses were tingling and she was right. So I would have been personally upset if I was Melissa because I came here to spend 6 months with you and I found out, that you cheated on me. Mm-hmm. I would have been hot. And I don't know if I would have gave him a second chance.
Well, she's giving him a second chance, but he's got to come to her hometown. So really, she don't have anything to lose. It's Tim this time that has got something to lose.
If anything, I was more aligned with the mom. Because she was like, I don't care if he's leaving his country to come for Melissa. That's the least he should do. Because she don't care for him at all. And I was like, you are right, Mom. But Melissa, she really wants to make this work. But at the same time, it kind of seems like she's skeptical about it because of the cheating. But I'm like, if you're so skeptical about it, why would you encourage him to even come?
To see if they can make it.
Maybe to visit, but not to leave his whole life for you. That's a little bit selfish.
No, she called him selfish, so that's funny you look at it that way. We're back with Brittany and Yaza. So it's a continuation of, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what you want from me. I just don't know. Now, Brittany put on a good act. Well, she was acting, but she wasn't. She was deflecting, is what you said last week. Mm-hmm. Because she really didn't want to be at the parents' house anyways because they had an argument on the way, remember?
That's one.
And she's still married.
And that's two.
Well, I have a 3. And because they was like, well, why do we have to wait for your family? Because you're getting married on Sunday. Mm-hmm. That's 3.
Right, because in the car, Yasmin was like, I already told you it was going to be quick. It was going to be no more than 2 weeks. And Brittany kept saying I told you it was going to be in January. And
no,
I was like,
say it like Brittany. I told you it was going to be in January. I just don't know what you want from me. I was like, get over it, Brittany. I mean, you're acting and you're deflecting, but at the same time, we're not shocked and surprised because you knew. Even in your testimonial, you said you knew and you should have did more research.
Not only did she already know what was going to happen, but my thing is, if she was so determined on January, but she just found out that she was still married, when did you think that divorce was going to happen so quickly?
I don't know, but she could, he's in another country, so I don't know how that works legally, but I'm sure she could still file. If you have a lawyer to talk to, they could give you direction on what to do because...
Yeah, file, but she has to wait to get married or unless it's
I know.
Bigotry. But, it's acceptable for the man to have more than one wife, but she's a whole woman, and his mom was already going off on her last episode, so that's not going to fly, period.
Well, on the way to the apartment that they got, because she's not in the hotel anymore, because clearly she thinks Yaza's going to stay the night. He's not. He's trying to comfort her, and I thought that was nice, but at the same time, Brittany's not here for her. Her tears come down a little bit more, but then they clear up a little bit. She's like, maybe he was just pressured with his culture. You think?
Mm-hmm. It was a nice apartment.
It was a nice apartment. He had rose petals laid out and everything, and rose petals on the bed, the little heart shape and stuff. She's like, "Oh, you gonna stay with me?" He's like, "No, babe, you know I can't stay."
But I was wondering, is that a rental for temporary use, or is that really gonna be his apartment? And when they get married, is he gonna come back to his mom's house?
I don't know. But whatever it is, it's nice. And Brittany thought that maybe because she had a little junk in the trunk, that he was going to stay. Because what she said, that's my fiance. I know how to get him to stay. Not tonight, girl. You saw what happened at his mom and dad's house.
Not only stay, but I feel like she wants him to choose between his family and her. Mm-hmm. But I think she's going to have another rude awakening because he's going to pick his family.
And also, too, Yazan tried to comfort Brittany some more when he was telling her that, I'll get my uncle to try to bring everybody together because, he's traveled a lot and he's been around different people. And that his dad tends to listen to his uncle more. So we'll see, but I don't think so. Even deep down, Brittany knows it's a cultural thing, and she might be in for that rude awakening.
Now we move on to Jenny and Sumit. So they finally get to go to the lawyer. Mm-hmm. And I might have to give Sumit a half of apology because maybe he actually did file the papers for divorce. Maybe he is actually on the right path to divorce.
Well, he did file the divorce like he said, but he just didn't have all the money. So it's the first step and the second step per Indian culture or whatever they have to do. So he filed, he just hasn't filed it completely.
But I think it was good for Jenny to hear, instead of it taking 2 to 5 years, it was only going to take a couple months for the first phase, or phase 1.
No, I think that was phase 2 because he already did phase 1. And then when they go into the second phase, it should be a little shorter because the lawyer said both parties agreed, so it shouldn't take as long.
That's true. So that's good news for Jenny to hear. And then later on, Jenny and Sumit are going to meet up with Sumit's friends and their wives. Well, come to find out, it was only Sumit's friends and no wives.
But what the friends say, that was out of line, but they laughed. I mean, it was out of line, though. It's like, oh, when Jenny Sumit comes, can we look like grandma and grandson? I was like,
But you know what? I think they already know that, though. They know the age difference. They know what they look like. So it shouldn't be a surprise that people are going to think that.
Well, it shouldn't be a surprise, and especially not to his friends. I mean, they know Jenny is older, and, Sumit don't seem to mind. So, that little comment they gave, I don't know. I think that was just whatever between the two of them for right now. But I wasn't surprised that the wives didn't come. One said the wife was sick, and one said the wife just didn't want to go along with the flow. And I can understand that because, again, it's a cultural thing, and maybe she just didn't want to be a part of it. Or maybe the wives actually know Sumit's soon-to-be ex-wife.
And I just wish Jenny would see that, yeah, he is grown and all the other stuff, but it's still a culture. Mm-hmm. It's not like America. I mean, yeah, America has culture here and there and throughout, but it's a specific set of culture.
Yeah, because Jenny was saying, they know about this, and if they don't like it, they could just go over there, or they don't have to be worried about it. Like you said, it's not about being worried about it. It's the point of his culture, how the family, if it doesn't work out, is going to treat him, how they're treating him now. I mean, they already have to live a couple hours away to have some type of peace from the family, from what happened the second time she came.
Mm-hmm. When she got ran off. I think she keep forgetting that part.
No, she don't forget. She just try not to remember.
But also what I found super interesting is that where they're living now is not even Sumit's permanent address.
Yes, because any marriage papers that Jenny and Sumit file along the way, if they can file, will go to his permanent address, which is his parents' house. And Jenny's concerned that, well, they may not sign the paper because they don't like her for whatever reason. So the family has that type of hold over Sumit and the marriage or any marriage customs in that aspect. So that's another thing Jenny needs to realize and take into consideration, that there's a chance that they may actually not be able to get married. Just depends on what the family says.
I think we might see them on 90 Day Fiancé the other way.
Back to Devin and Jihoon. Jihoon just got the news that Devin, her kids, and her mom are going to hotels. So what does Jihoon do? He doesn't stay at that apartment. He goes back to his parents' house.
Somebody should have been staying at the apartment.
So honestly, there was a bunch of rude awakenings in this episode, to be honest. A couple couples had rude awakenings. Mm-hmm. But Jihoon walks in, his mom is there, his dad must be at work or something, and he sits down, he looks defeated. And he goes on to say that Devin wants to leave, she's at the hotel, just goes on and on about what the conversation was. And he starts to cry. He says he's almost 30, living with his parents. He feels like a loser from all the debt that he's incurred, the people he's had to pay back, and just the whole scenario of what has happened before Devin got there, or whatever the case may be. And the mom is sitting there looking at him like, I don't know why Devin's upset. You know, she should know that, you know, Korean men or Korean culture, they're young and restless, and that's what happens.
And she should tell little white lies.
Yeah, they should just accept it. I mean, your dad did. I'm thinking, that's not even the case, Mom. I mean, maybe, you know, you didn't have this problem with Jihoon's dad, but Jihoon is having those problems with Devin because Devin's used to certain things. I mean, not to say that America is all of that, but I mean, okay. But Devin's used to certain things, and now that she has kids and a baby and all this stuff, you know, they did rush into things, and Mom is kind of like dismissive, like, you know, it'll be okay, like pretty much Devin's gonna have to get over it. When really Jihoon's the one that's got to straighten up, get his life back on track, figure out the debt, and figure out how he's gonna take care of Devin and those kids.
Well, I can see where the mom is coming from a little bit, just based off of they're married. You know, marriage has its ups and its downs, you know, for better or for worse, as the vows do say. But at the same time, Jihoon has lied to Devin so much, and he's even admit to lying for Devin to come back.
Yeah.
Just because he wants to have a family. It's not acceptable. It's not okay, no matter what culture is, to lie. No matter if it's a white lie or a big lie. A lie is a lie.
Is a lie. So, with that being said, Jihoon, after he gets emotional, his mom finally comes around and says, you know what, it'll be okay.
That's not what she said. She said, stop crying.
Well,
Men don't cry.
but she did tell him, you know, it's hard to see your kids, well, your son cry. I said kids because I was thinking about you guys. But it is hard to see your kids cry or whoever cry if you're emotionally attached to them in this situation. And I think that the mom is more on Jihoon's side versus Devin's because, you know, they don't really care for Devin because she's not a Korean girl. But I don't know. I think in her way she was trying to be supportive.
For our last couple is Kenny and Armando. While I was watching their segment, because me and Mom watch it in different rooms to get our different perspectives going, I was thinking the whole time, I think Mom was a little bit right on what Kenneth is or who he might be.
What I said in the very first video, but I will say, you're going to have to watch the video to know what I said. But what I will say is that Kenny, I still got that vibe from him, but at the same time, he softened me just a little bit, just because of relationship. Now, and when they actually came together, I was like, yay, they made it, because I didn't think his comfort dog Truffles
was gonna make
it. I really didn't. I was hoping she would, but she did. And I'm glad they made it. They seemed so happy, so overwhelmed. And it came across very genuine. And I actually believe this couple. I just think Kenny is used to some of the finer things and some things he may not be able to get used to. But we'll touch on that.
So he made it to the apartment. Armando cooked for him. It was a nice dinner. I was wondering why he didn't take a shower immediately because he's been on the road for 4 or 5 days.
They always do that. I don't know
why. He had a cute poster up with Armando, Kenny, and little Hannah. I was looking for Truffles. I didn't see him.
Maybe he was like in the corner.
So they had a cute dinner. And Kenny said that him and Armando agreed on the apartment. So I think maybe Kenny should have Google searched or Google website the area to know what it was going to look like.
Well,
because
I don't think that matters.
It does matter because he just said he's used to vacationing. And when you vacation as a tourist and be a citizen are two different things.
I know, but that goes back to the people that lives in the country that you're going to. That includes here of the States. Armando should have taken the time out. Maybe he could take a road trip with Hannah before he got there to see what the town was like, because even Armando didn't know.
Well, I'm sure Armando's more comfortable with it than Kenny, but Kenny should have took some time again to learn the language, especially if you're going to live there.
True.
Because not everywhere accommodates to English, even if they do speak English. And I was really surprised that he was so unfamiliar with Mexican food.
You know, the next morning, they clearly had a good night. And they decide to go out and see their surroundings. To touch on your point, when they get to the restaurant, Armando's like, oh, you want to stop here to eat? He was like, huh.
He's like, what food do they serve?
And I was like, huh?
I know. I was like, And I'm glad a local pedestrian was like, yeah, Mexican. What did you think they served? Italian? I was like,
right. And I side-eyed Kenny on that one because Kenny was like, well, I don't know, because in America you get a little bit of everything. I mean, not to be rude or anything, but it's like Ariela's mom says, not to be rude, but I mean, you're from America, and when you're in someone else's country, you gotta expect what it is. I mean, it's Mexican food.
Right. It's not like you're in the main city where they would have different things to accommodate the tourist. You're in a small town where they only serve a certain amount of food.
Well, while the lady is cooking, is an open air cafe you can see in where they're making bread and food, all kind of stuff. And he's like, oh, she's using her hands. I'm thinking, has he never been to a traditional Mexican restaurant where they use their hands to roll? Because, I mean,
I just said it. He's used to being a tourist. And even though he is from Florida and they do have a heavy Spanish influence, they have like watered down to appeal to the Americans who are not used to certain things like spicy food or the traditional meals that they have. So I'm sure that's what he's used to.
I think Kenny's used to the finer things what he's compared to, because just everything turned him off when he actually had his nose there, in my opinion. Like, I was not here for that, because even Armando kind of was like, are you going to eat that?
Yeah, he called him dramatic.
Yeah, like a germaphobe. Now, I get, having your hands clean all the time. I get that. That's different. But I mean, if you're in an area, you see what it's like, I don't understand what you can expect. Like I said, you're not at the resort. You're not a tourist. You're a resident now. So while they're walking along, Armando or Kenny, one of them was like, oh, that's a hospital, and showing like how you could pay your utilities, things like that. And he's like, oh, you just pay it right here? It's a one-stop shop. I just thought that was very inconsiderate.
That's another one who might be back on the 90 days the other way, because he is not here for it, and that completely turned me off from Kenny in this episode. All right, everyone, so that was the end of this week's episode, and I would have to agree with the title of this episode because it was a rude awakening for most of the couples on here, and I would actually have to agree with Mom on Kenny. Not Armando, but Kenny, because he just really rubbed me the wrong way in this episode. And also, I was not fazed by Brittany.
Brittany, is any of our subscribers, our lovely subscribers, fazed by Brittany?
I don't think so.
Brittany is looking for an out. Brittany wants to have an out so bad that
in attention.
That she doesn't know what to do or how to handle it because she's not trying to get married on Sunday.
So let us know what you guys thought about this week's episode in the comments down below and what you think is going to happen in the next episode. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, and you also share this video to other people who watch 90 Day Fiancé the other way and the multiple 90 Day Fiancés that are out there. And you also become one of our lovely subscribers because we might have something in store for you guys later on.
Thank you all for watching, and as always, live simply, be grateful.